Hello and welcome back to the Turnbuckle podcast, bringing you slightly something different today. As always, being joined by David. So we'll get that bit. How are we, buddy?
Not doing too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Quite excited for this one. So we have
Yeah.
been joined today by a very special guest. So we are doing the first podcast where we're bringing a guest on. We're going to get to know a little bit about her background story into how she got into wrestling and discuss Raw and Royal Rumble whilst it's still fresh. So we have brought in JustGee92. So how are we?
Hello, I'm great. I'm really excited to do this. I'm really excited to be here with you guys. But yeah, it's great.
Perfect. Appreciate you being on, especially as our first guest. I was obviously having a conversation with you beforehand. We've just started up as a channel, so it's kind of like getting the wood where it's like you message people and people are like, you've got no followers, we don't want you. So we do really appreciate you coming on and joining us for a special podcast. So jumping straight into it, let's go back to the weekend. Royal Rumble in Riyadh. If any of you seen our podcast yesterday, you'd know I wasn't very happy with it. And you sorted, but coming to you, G, what were your overall thoughts and takes on the Rumble, and what excited you about it?
Okay, so overall, the Rumble for me, like, if anybody knows me, it is my favourite PLE of the year. I love it so much. I love it more than WrestleMania. It is like the bread and butter of wrestling for me. Royal Rumble. So obviously, with it being announced we've been in Saudi Arabia, I was a bit skeptical because we know what their crowds can be like and how some of their previous PLEs have been. So I was a bit skeptical on how it was going to go down. I can't lie, the crowd wasn't the best for me, especially during the women's match. They were silent until Brie Bella came out, and that's only because of who her husband was. But it was a bit meh. The outcomes of some of the matches I wasn't too happy with either. And I don't know, it just felt really, really watered down compared to what a Royal Rumble normally is.
It was a very weird one. I keep calling the women's Royal Rumble the Power Ranger Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And people look at me and go, "You can't call it that." And I'm like, "Well, Jordan Grace literally put up a TikTok doing
she
Power
did.
Rangers,
Yeah.
I'm clear at doing that. That's fine." But no, it's a weird one when they've got all the political and issues that they have and the stuff with the women's side of it. To have done that, I said it to my partner. I said, what would have been interesting to have seen this year is if they put maybe an Evolution pay-per-view in February, move Chamber to March, and then did two separate Royal Rumbles and maybe give the women's their own pay-per-view with a Royal Rumble on, just so you wouldn't have that organist. They would have all got, Brie would have got a proper pop. Sol Ruka would have got a pop for doing well. Kalani Jordan, all these people that JC Jane was a massive one that I was like, she needs to be in it. And they got no reaction. Where I feel like if they'd maybe done an Evolution pay per view where all that could have been put on show, it could have been a bit different and interesting. But obviously, they're trying to think about all the money that Riyadh have brought in.
Yeah, exactly.
I did see your reaction video though on Brie returning. For me, was massive. So, what is Brie to you? Obviously, everyone has a different view of it. As you said, then a lot of them will know her as Daniel Bryan's or Bryan Danielson's wife. But what's Brie Bella to you? How come you had that reaction?
So if anybody's watching that does know me and knows like my background with wrestling, so I was very late into the wrestling world, so I didn't actually get to experience the Bella twins as they were in the Divas era, but I obviously have been back and watched bits and really enjoyed. So to me, seeing Nikki come back and being able to watch Nikki live in wrestling stories that I'm watching now, I was like, I really want the Bella twins to come back and be tag teaming in a world where I can watch it live and not watch it back as something that happened years ago. So enjoying them back in the Divas era, I just was like, I want Brie back. I want them to be tagging. I want them to be tag champs. I want to see them do it now in 2026. Yeah. So that's why I was really excited when she came back.
It makes sense. David, do you remember the first time you saw Twin Magic?
I do. I thought it was a piece of, sorry for the pun, but a piece of magic, should I say. Growing up as a kid watching them do that. It brought something different to WWE. And obviously, being a big John Cena fan, I'm obviously a big fan of the Bella Twins. So I was glad to see Brie back in the ring as well.
Yeah, they're lovable people. I don't like Nikki's return earlier in the year because
Mm,
I don't think she did that good of a job as a heel. If you brought her back as this happy-go-lucky face that she was, people loved it. As soon as they tried to turn her heel, it didn't work, and now it don't make sense even more that they brought Brie back, and they're going to be the Bella Twins, who were always face. The only time they were
Yeah,
ever heel, they were fighting each other. Um, so bringing them back face now and getting the pop they were getting, the whole Nikki Bella storyline 3-4 months ago don't make sense. I get obviously she wanted the title, but um, I remember the first time I watched the Twin Magic and they did the moment where they split them from two separate sides of the ring. The first time it was revealed as them, I remember watching that live and I was like, it took you like a second, like that's a really long person, and then the two come out and we were like, oh damn. But it was nice to see as well because that was the time of, like, as you said, the Divas era. So a
yeah.
lot of those women at that time were coming through. I can't think what the competition was called, but they were all models and they wanted to be in wrestling, and none of them could
It
wrestle.
was the May Young. Was it the May Young one?
No, it was
No,
before that.
different
So
one.
it was people like Caitlin, Ashley,
Oh, okay.
Maurice
Yeah,
all
yeah,
come through this thing where they were basically models beforehand,
yeah,
and they were brought onto TV to let stroke Vince's ego. Let's put it that way. Where he just wanted pretty people on the screen that looked good in barely anything. Um, and the Bellas were the first ones that come out, and they could actually wrestle. Um, so it was nice to see that, and then slowly you see how the women's revolution was built
yeah.
to what it is now. And as a female yourself, obviously, you say you got into it late. We had a conversation a minute ago. How big is that now for you to see where the women's division is at, where it was, where it's at, and where it's going?
Yeah, it's great to be fair to see the way that women's wrestling has evolved so much over the years because I kind of feel like had I have been watching back in the day where they were just like women coming out with the men and not really doing much wrestling, I don't think I would have had much of a connection with some of the women as I do now, seeing them actually wrestle and fight. So definitely seeing that evolution of women's wrestling all across the years, I definitely think it's at a place where it's much better, but not 100% where it needs to be. But yeah, I think it's so great now.
I think it's good as well when they can show off
Yeah.
people like Rhea and people like Lash Legend and the strength they have. Rhea is unbelievably strong.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
She frightens me. Like she would. I'm surprised Buddy Murphy's not black and blue. Like I see. Have you ever seen their streams together? They
Oh
are
no, no.
hilarious. So they do like Twitch streams sometimes. And there was an after this, go and have a look at it. There's a YouTube video where Buddy Murphy's been out on the beach and he's sunburned, and
Mm.
Rhea chops him as a
I think
dare.
I've seen it. I think I have seen that.
He's nearly crying because he was like, that chop really hurt. I thought she'd tap me, and she like smacks him. But it shows you got some women in there now that have got the strength where back
Yeah.
in the day it was Beth Phoenix,
yeah,
or the other one I mentioned to you, David, the other day was Karma.
yeah.
I know she went on to be Kong in AEW, but she was actually bullied out of WWE. There's an interview
Oh
with her
wow.
which I thought was quite hard because obviously she was a bigger lady.
Mm.
She was abused and bullied by the girls in the back because she was obviously different, to the point that she had a mental breakdown and left WWE. And then
Wow.
they brought her back in, tried to get her in the grip. Then she got pregnant. So obviously, it really didn't help the
Mm.
situation. She then had to step away, and she's never returned. And honestly, I'd love to see her back in WWE because she was crazy. That moment that Umaga walks down, you're like, oh, someone's in trouble. She'd walk out, and you're like, oh, damn. Um, but yeah, like wrestling back at Natalia is a massive one for me.
Mm.
When you said about women back in the day, you don't think you'd have the connection with them with how they were. That's where I struggle with Natalia because I remember the time where she was just Bret Hart's
Yeah.
niece, and she was I can't think of her dad, Neidhart's daughter, and then she come out with Tyson Kidd and David Smith Jr. and she was part of the Hart dynasty. and she was that side person there, and then she went with Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. She was their side person. Then it was a Great Khali, and she was a side person. That's where I struggle now with this new Natty. I'm like, for me, her time's come and gone, and she's
Yeah.
one of those older wrestlers, and I'd like to see her have a good run. But realistically, do I ever see him putting a world title on her? No.
No.
But things could change. But I just think that's one of the older ones where Brie and Nikki took it in a different direction of we're not just going to be managers. I think they started out as Daniel Bryan's manager, and on that kind of side of it, and then they've progressed into their own thing now. So, but yeah, what are your thoughts on going back to what we were meant to be talking about, the Royal Rumble? What are your thoughts on Gunter retiring AJ, and do you think he's actually retired?
So this is a tricky one because yes, I do genuinely think he has retired. I think he's going to go and do some stuff, maybe with a little bit of stuff with TNA or New Japan before he fully retires from wrestling. Full stop. Like he has been like a WWE guy for like nearly 10 years now. He probably wants to go back, have a few matches with some other people that he's wrestled with before, maybe try out some new matches. I wouldn't be opposed to him going to AEW for a tiny little bit just to wrestle some of those people that he's never wrestled that are new to that company and that company alone, before he fully retires from wrestling. But I do believe he is done. I can't see a world where they have a match like that, an ending like that, and then he does come back, if that makes sense. But then there's part of me that thinks he has been with WWE for 10 years. Why would they let him go like that? In that sort of way.
Yeah.
I thought if he was going to retire at Royal Rumble, maybe they would have put him as the last match and give him a proper send off. But it was just him, and then he went. It was really weird. It was really weird.
David keeps pointing it out to me, keeps sending me things that's like, we were all so focused on John Cena's retirement tour that we all missed AJ Styles' retirement tour. I said it that I think, well, Ava has stepped away from NXT, hasn't she? She's left the company, which is a sad one because I thought she was doing a really good job there. So does that open up the job for AJ to drop down to NXT as the general manager, go into a bit of a Paige Daniel Bryan role where she did that, but then bring some of the exclusive TNA matches like the X Division games and stuff they had there, and open up TNA to be more of a competing brand with Raw and SmackDown rather than it just being the development group, making it a proper brand. I think he'd do a really good job of that. But like I said, I'd like to see him in AEW just to see him reconnect with Kenny Omega and to fight Will Ospreay. I think they're the two fights that everyone that watches wrestling right now would want to see. But yeah, I think you can't have. So if John Cena was to come back, as much as David would absolutely love it because he is John Cena's #1 fan. As much as he'd love to see Cena back, I think it'd be weird after having so long saying I'm done to then do it. But yeah, and then obviously we also had Drew McIntyre, one of our homegrown talents, defeat Sami Zayn and keep the title. Are you enjoying Drew's reign, or are you not a Drew fan?
Oh, absolutely, I'm enjoying it. I love that man so much. His heel work is phenomenal. Like, one of my favourite feuds, like last year, I think it was last year was the CM Punk Drew McIntyre stuff. That stuff with no title was one of the best storylines of the year. I could not fault that storyline whatsoever. Drew, he is just on another level. He doesn't need a title to make a storyline. Same for CM Punk. He doesn't need a title to make a storyline good. That was the best storyline of its year. I don't care what anybody says. Drew McIntyre is fantastic, and I just love. And I do think it's great now that he's got his dues and he has the title after all them times that he's been messed over and lost his chance to get the title, especially that WrestleMania one with Damian Priest. But I'm very excited for his title run, and I hope it is a long one. I hope if they do decide to drop it at WrestleMania, whoever he goes against, please make it a good one, because he does deserve to have it longer than just WrestleMania.
Yeah, but I'm one of these. Me and David have spoke about this quite a lot. I don't know if David wants to give his input on it, but back when we started watching wrestling, every title was defended every 30 days.
Yeah.
It should
And
be like that. I absolutely agree.
yeah, and we used to love that, didn't we, David? And I think we
Oh,
should
we
bring
did.
it should be brought back.
Yeah,
100%. We were speaking on the last video we did about Dom having the title and about the spoilers even much raw about his return, and we said, "Oh, he should have been a perfect return for him at the Rumble." But then also we were saying that he got injured with it early December, and like it's past the 30 days.
yeah,
We haven't seen the IC title defended, and we're probably not going to see it defended again until WrestleMania. But yeah, me and Josh grew up in an era where every single pay-per-view back then, when you called pay-per-views, every title was online.
yeah.
And even you had fighting champions on like Raw and SmackDown. That's what a bit annoyed me when Reigns was winning, because if Reigns does win, like at the moment with CM Punk, love the run he's on at the moment, even though
Yeah.
he's getting on an age, but he still puts good matches. He's on Raw every single week. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
don't want, if Roman does win the title, I don't want him to go back and be, oh, I'll show up on Raw and then wait a few weeks and then it'll be like, oh, Roman Reigns returns, because we've already had in like the past 6 months we've had like 4 Roman Reigns returns already.
That was the thing that bothered me about his title reign last time, his 1,000 and some days. When he got to the end of that, he was less and less defending that bout, and it just really bugged me. It was more about the numbers and breaking that record than it was about him actually defending that bout and building a storyline, and it was awful.
We spoke about it just before we come on here, and we've had many conversations on these podcasts about people not turning up, and it really annoyed me. And I'm not going to go into it because we'll have a 20-minute rant. That he was announced for the Rumble again via a VT, and I'm sort of like, just don't announce it. Just keep it a surprise. Because not being funny, if I'm sat there putting a list together of people I expect in the Rumble, I'm gonna assume Roman Reigns is in it because he's a big guy, big name.
Yeah.
You'd be stupid not to put it in. There was no need to announce him a video package. If you're going to announce him, at least have him turn up and surprise the crowd. And his title reign was one of those where I think people fell out of it because it was like you had Cody trying so hard to get the title, but was there, like we spoke about before, was there at every live show, every TV show, every PLE. He's there. And we sat there going, put a title on him, the guy that's going to be here. And then the fan base put a title on him. Well, the creator put a title on him, and the fan base went, "Yeah, I'm bored of him as champion now. Can we have someone else?" I just thought it was ironic with Drew McIntyre, though, that the day after he wins the title, he was to appear at a live show in Glasgow. I don't think there could have been any more perfect time for him to win it.
No,
Apart from Clash of the Castle the first time when Solo cost the title. But I think he's a great heel, and I'm glad the bitching's kind of stopped. I weren't liking that point, but now that he's champion, I just think he's gone back to his ruthless stage of just dominating people. So
yeah.
And then obviously the final match of the Rumble was the Men's Royal Rumble. Again, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on Powerhouse Hobbs, or should I call him Royce Keys, appearing? And what was your thoughts about not having Chris Jericho?
So I think everybody had hyped Chris Jericho up to the point that everybody believed it was going to happen. But obviously, we never believe everything we say on the internet. A lot of the time, content creators will dwell on something that's being talked about a lot just because it pulls in that viewership. I genuinely didn't think he was coming back because I know he's going on a tour with Fozzy literally in weeks, and that he's gone for like 3 weeks on this tour. So I thought maybe WWE wouldn't sign him for a Royal Rumble for him to then be gone for over a month, and then, it doesn't make sense for them to do that. It's not like a business strategy. So I genuinely actually didn't believe that he was going to come back no matter what my content says. Sorry, guys. And then in terms...
Giving all the spoilers.
Yeah, you're getting the full behind the scenes. I was just dragging people in. In terms of Powerhouse Hobbs, I have only seen little bits of him in AEW, so I don't actually know what he's fully capable of. So I'm really excited to see what he is fully capable of coming over to WWE. My partner talks really highly of him, so I'm super excited to see what he's got to bring to WWE. And then in terms of the men's Royal Rumble overall, it was average, I'm gonna say. I'm really not happy that Roman Reigns won. I'm really pissed that Bron Breakker got took out straight away. He was my pick to win. Bron Breakker was the one that made sense to win. Okay, I get this whole storyline with Adam Pearce and whatever they're trying to build, and whoever this masked man is now, and whatever. I'm really invested in this story. I am really invested in this story with Bron Breakker and the Vision and Seth and everything. My theory behind this is that Theory is actually working for Seth and he's not actually involved in the Vision. He's just there to be a lookout for Seth. That is what I think is going on. But I was annoyed that Bron got took out like that. I understand why, but I really, really wanted him to win. And I really wanted to see him versus CM Punk at WrestleMania and Bron win. But now we're getting Roman versus CM Punk, and I'm so pissed that they're going to give Roman the bout again because I just know it's going to happen.
Over that, David?
No, I'm the same. I'm the same with Roman taking the belt. I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. The one thing I didn't like about the Rumble was the way Lesnar got eliminated.
During Jay's entrance.
Yeah, if you're going to eliminate anyone during entrance, you wouldn't have someone like the over or big as a start as Brock Lesnar.
That's normally the Tozawa role.
Yeah. Whenever, no matter where you are in the world, whenever Brock Lesnar gets eliminated, no matter who by, you're going to get a massive pop in a Royal Rumble. And they've missed out on that chance because when me and Josh would talk about it, like everyone, when Jay used to come off the crowd, like there was a big section of the crowd who was just turned, looking at Jay. And then they got eliminated and they turned back and you see just people like look and point as if say, oh, he's gone. Like, Lesnar's walking around. Like, that was the one thing, that's the one thing I can sit on here and have a rant about. That was one of the many reasons what let the Rumble down for me.
On Powerhouse Hobbs as well, I've been watching the last couple of days since he debuted some of his videos on YouTube. And from early in his career, he was deemed to be very similar to Brock Lesnar, just a big, dominating type of guy. He's got a lot of power, and he very much reminds me, if he can get the promos right, he reminds me of Big E. He's a very funny kind of character in the ring. He likes to have a laugh with his opponents, not just... But then, seriously, when it needs to be, he's got a lot of strength. He can pick up big guys like they're nothing. So I definitely think he could be someone interested. But I did read yesterday, while watching Raw last night, I don't know if anyone else picked up on it, they did a moment where it was people representing NXT in the Rumble, and they put Royce Keys into that. So I have a feeling he might be going into NXT.
I was literally about to ask, do you think he'll go to NXT or main roster? Because I wasn't sure what kind of ability, like some of them they bring in and put them straight on the main roster, and some of them they send to NXT. I wasn't sure.
No, I kind of seen that little egg yesterday on it, and I was like, they've just put a video of Powerhouse Hobbs, and it was like Sol Ruka and Javon Evans that had all come up and stuff, and they were talking about the people of NXT represented in the Rumble did really
proud. They really did.
And he was in it, and I was like, so is he going to be appearing? Is he going to be the new Overfemi on NXT now that Overfemi's come up? And I'm very excited to see him. But just a quick point on people like Javon Evans. The guy's got 21 years old. So much talent. And he is going to be a future Hall of Famer if they put him in the right way. Yeah. They just can't do with him what they've done with Kofi Kingston and make him this common comedic character. They can have this little bit of like, oh, he's bouncy and he's fun and he's enjoyable, but then they've killed so many. Like they've killed Penta off with it. They've killed Kaiser off now by putting him as El Grande. He's stuck in a. You can't do anything with that. They did it with Kofi. They did it with Xavier. They killed off Ray by not doing much. Javon's got a lot of talent, and they need to use him correctly.
I mean, there is a way that Ludwig could come out of this El Grande thing with Chad Gable having come back now. I literally said they could do a mask versus mask El Grande Americano match at WrestleMania. Loser takes off their mask. Ludwig loses, he takes off his mask, and then he goes back to being Ludwig and they build him in something else.
I said, how funny would it be if Chad Gable's got his own Rayo and whatever
Yes,
the other
we
guy's
said
name
that as
is.
well. We said that as well.
You
Then we
do a
could have like a
6,
six-man tag
yeah.
match. Yeah.
But then at the end of the match, you have Kaiser, Pete Dunne, and Tyler Bates because we know it's them three.
Yes, of
Very
course.
obvious when Pete Dunne goes and talks in Spanish and you hear the Dudley accent come out of it. There's no one else it can be. Yeah. But maybe you have those three lose. They all get unmasked, but then maybe we get Chad Gable unmask himself.
Oh yeah.
And it completely ends at El Grande at WrestleMania.
Maybe.
Just because I feel like get it to Mania, people are going to expect it to end, and then no one's going to care about it. They'll want Chad Gable going for a title because everyone loves Chad Gable and he deserves it. But no, NXT definitely did proud in both rumbles.
Sol Ruka was an MVP for me. She was an MVP. I literally at one point thought she was going to win it.
I wanted her to win.
Yeah, same. I did.
We had a conversation before. Yeah, we had a conversation before about Sol Ruka because we think she should be main roster now.
She should.
I've said maybe the Monday Raw or SmackDown after Mania.
Yeah.
Or if she goes into the chamber, then that could queue up maybe a Mania match and then onto a roster. But I generally thought they were going to give it Sol Ruka because she'd been the perfect person to have been the first ever active NXT superstar to win a Rumble.
Yeah,
because they've never done it before, so it could have been something new. But no, Triple H don't like new things. I'm assuming you've watched last night's Raw.
Yeah, literally about 2 hours ago.
I've seen you put a story up that says no Raw watch long, and I was like, Raw was last night. But I'm assuming obviously the way that you do your content.
So I thought they were in Saudi still for Raw, so I was gonna watch it last night. But I got that completely wrong, and apparently they were back in Philadelphia. So I don't stay up to watch it because I'm up for work early hours in the morning. So I usually do a watch along the day after, and I sit and watch it on TikTok. So
we'll definitely make sure that we can enjoy it along in the future.
Definitely.
But obviously catching up on Raw now, the big point that I want to bring up first, because to me it's the standout moment of Raw. Gunter coming out to AJ Styles music and doing his entrance, ultimate shithouse.
Yeah.
It's just iconic, great to see. Yeah.
But he didn't just come out like normally, like when Miz come out with the Rock's music, they come out, haha, funny. He come out and he fully committed and did his
and he was
his
laughing
entrance.
And it was great.
He is such a good heel, but that was a good round. Even though they're setting up Gunter Dragon Lee, I get he's trying to defend AJ, but
that's like that sleeper hold over the top rope.
Yeah,
it looks like it was just it was mad.
But obviously Bron Breakker starts the show losing his mind, which he does. Quick question: who do you think is the masked man?
Oh, obviously the first time it was Austin Theory, and I don't know if it is Austin Theory again because, as I said, I think he's working for Seth, so it would make sense for him to be the masked man again, unless it's somebody else. I've seen a few names flying around of a couple of NXT stars saying that Seth could be building another faction ready to come back and face the Vision. I've seen names like Ethan Page, Ricky Saints. So I don't think it's Ethan Page. It wasn't quite built, but Ricky Saints, it could definitely be Ricky Saints. I genuinely think it's either Austin Theory or somebody that Seth is recruiting to build another faction ready to come and face the Vision. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm very invested in it.
What are your thoughts, David? Who do you think's behind the hood?
Well, I was thinking it was someone Seth was going to recruit, and we'll find out. Maybe Grayson Waller because of the history he's had with Theory. That way, until Josh put out to me a perfect scenario, which I'll let Josh explain. But Josh put a perfect scenario to me, and I'm now starting to think Logan Paul.
Oh.
And I'll let Josh explain that part.
The photo that I seen online, the gentleman that's in the mask has got a blonde beard and a blonde bit here. Perfect would have been Logan Paul. Maybe you have Logan Paul and Austin Theory joining Seth. The other name that I've put out there is Jake Paul, because there was talks about him coming into WWE, and you'd have that. But the story that I seen was Seth Rollins is known as the architect, the visionary, the
Yeah.
revolutionary Seth freaking Rollins. Well, the storyline obviously is he was the architect of the Shield. He
Hmm.
was the key person. He is the visionary of the Vision.
Oh, I like this.
There might be a new group called Revolution, and he'll be the revolutionary of bringing a
I
new
like
group of
this.
people together.
Yeah,
Um, I'm not going to take credit. I did see it on Twitter. Someone put it out there, and
I
I was
like that.
like, that makes sense that Seth brings back a new group called Revolution. So he's had the architect, the visionary, and the revolutionary as his three
Yeah, I
factions.
like.
And he takes a group of young people. So you've got Austin Theory, maybe a Logan Paul, or you bring in Jake Paul because he's younger, and he
Yeah,
builds Jake Paul up. You could then bring in Ethan Page. You could bring in Ricky Saint, some of the younger
yeah,
talent. You could bring in a Sol Ruka from NXT and bring in the women's division into it. But I definitely 100% think it's Seth's mastermind in it.
yeah. I do as well.
Ultimately, I think it's Logan Paul or Jake Paul is going to be under that mask. Um, it can't have been Seth Rollins. The guy's beard is literally blonde, and this is what
Yeah,
people say in Adam Pearce. It's like his beard's grey. There was no way he was
yeah.
getting a blonde beard in time. I seen someone throw out there that it could have been Nick Aldis because
Mm.
obviously at the moment
I don't
Adam
think it was
Pearce.
quite tall enough
To be
to be
fair, if you
stolen.
watch him, he's quite crouched in the hoodie, and
Yeah.
the hoodie's like sat up. A lot of people think Dean Ambrose because he did the head twitch before
No
he
way.
started, and I was like,
No way.
imagine if it was John Moxley, led
I would
by
love it. Yeah, I would
led by
absolutely
Seth Rollins.
love it.
People would lose their mind.
Yeah.
But the whole situation that it took me till earlier, and I'm really, really sad to admit this online that I didn't realise what it stood for. But obviously, the promo on Royal Rumble, they said FAFO,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, "Fuck this! Fuck around, find out."
And find out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, whoever called Paul Heyman, called Adam Pearce, even is someone big that
Hmm.
maybe doesn't like the Vision and wants Paul Heyman doing something else. So maybe they've called Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce has gone, well, maybe if you do this for me, I can get rid of that. And it calls it. Um, or it could just be Roman calling his cousin, like always, because, can't
Yeah.
do anything about The Rock. But a lot of stories out there, but I definitely think it's Seth Rollins bringing it. And if they do bring it back as like Revolution, as much as it's everyone's going to be like, yeah, but that just sounds like they've copied Evolution. It would be perfect because we all know Triple H loves himself. Let's be honest. He inducted himself into the Hall of Fame. He's now inducted his wife into the Hall of Fame. He's now put himself all over the games. Triple H can't do anything but put himself there. So it'd be a
Yeah.
very, very Triple H thing to do. But what are your overall thoughts then on Raw? Any big points that you took from that?
I thought it was pretty solid for a Raw after a PLE. I really enjoyed the whole Bron Breakker stuff. I thought it's added more to the story. Obviously, like I said a million times, I'm so invested in this. I really enjoyed seeing the Bella Twins come back and saying they're going to go after the tag belts because obviously
Yeah,
that's what I want. That's what I wanted them to be tag champions. So I'm super excited for that. The CM Punk and Roman Reigns stuff. Now, as much as I wasn't happy that Roman Reigns won the Rumble, I was really, really enjoying that whole promo between them two at the end. Really thoroughly enjoyed that. I am going to be so annoyed if they just take the belt off CM Punk and give it to Roman Reigns, though, because I am the biggest CM Punk fan ever. He is like the best, obviously. What else happened on Raw? I literally watched it like 2 hours ago and I've already forgot
there
everything that
was
happened.
a women's street fight. I'll come to you for this one, Dave. There's a
Oh,
women's
Raquel and
street fight that was
Stephanie
good.
report. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that match?
Yeah, I
I
really,
think
do
it
you know
was a
that match was amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was a solid match.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm very curious at where they're going with the Liv Morgan story because I'm assuming from watching that you'd have thought she's going to go after Stephanie Vicaire,
Hmm.
but I feel like Raquel might be in its situation. But usually, one Rumble winner will go for the Raw title and the other goes for a SmackDown. Now
Hmm.
that realistically now lines up that Liv Morgan goes for Jade Cargill. I can't see that happening. I can't see I can't see any world where Liv Morgan beats Jade Cargill. That is calling out for a Bianca Belair return or
Yeah.
a Tiffany Stratton absolute powerhouse show and taking that. But if they do go with Liv and Stephanie, it's going to be very interesting because obviously in the promo just before when Dom returns and says like 5 lines, Raquel asks Liv to stay in the back and then she comes and gets involved. So it'd be interesting to see how that unfolds next week on Raw.
I have a little inkling that Raquel might take the belt from Stephanie before WrestleMania because obviously they're driving this force between Raquel and Liv and it's getting a little bit closer and closer and they're pushing them away a little bit more and a little bit more. I genuinely thought Raquel might have won last night and we might end up seeing Liv versus Raquel at WrestleMania, but I do see a world where Stephanie may lose the belt to Raquel before WrestleMania and we have Liv versus Raquel.
Yeah, I can see it happening as well. Especially because Stephanie's got this really bad injury with
Yeah.
her ankle. It would make sense. The other option could be I worked out earlier. There's 11 titles, so one night is going to have 6 title matches and one will have 5 if they split them. Now you could make it 6 and 6 by having Raquel get involved with the women's match on night 1 and make it a triple threat on night 2. And then I would absolutely love it to see Stephanie Vicaire versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Liv Morgan and Raquel to walk away with the title then.
Yeah.
To kind of show Liv, like, you weren't the dominant person in Judgment Day. You'd also have, I think, you're going to have Dom and Finn for the IC title at Mania.
Yep.
You could potentially have the full implosion of Judgment Day end at Mania and it be done with. Poor JD McDonough's gone out and got injured, and the whole of Judgment Day again's falling apart.
I know.
But last time we got injured. But there's a lot of storylines. I was doing like little graphic work earlier, working out like what my matches for Mania would be.
Yeah.
I think I got the photo here. So I've got night 1, I'd have CM Punk and Roman. That potentially might be the main event night 2, but depends what else.
I think so.
You've got Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton for the Women's Championship. Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov versus The Miz versus Damian Priest versus Aleister Black versus Rey Fenix versus Trick Williams versus the UK's favourite man right now, Kit Wilson, in an 8-man ladder match for the United States Championship. Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. I think that gets set up at the Chamber.
That's one of mine.
I feel like Becky goes in the Chamber and AJ costs her. AJ's music will hit. She'll get pinned and lose the Chamber.
Nice.
The Usos versus The Vision versus War Raiders in a triple threat for the World Tag Team titles. Was just trying to see how people out there. Al Grande versus Al Grande, which we've already spoke about.
Yeah.
Team Rio versus the Bellas versus Charlexa versus Jackson Legend in a fatal 4-way for the Women's Tag Team Championships.
I like that.
And Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. I feel like that'd be night 1. Night 2, I've got Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, and Jacob Fatu for the title.
Ooh, yes.
I feel like that storyline could still build, and that could be a no DQ or something like that. Falls count anywhere match.
I'd be more than happy for Jacob to win that match as well.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I'm a massive fan of him.
Stephanie Vicaire versus Liv Morgan. Then I got an 8-man ladder match for the IC title, which would be Dom Mysterio, Finn Balor, Austin Theory, Dragon Lee, Penta, LA Knight, Javon Evans, and Sami Zayn. Again, just using some of the Raw talent. Julia versus Chelsea Green versus Sol Ruka versus Jordan Grace, 4-way for the Women's United States. MFTs versus Fraxion versus the returning Street Profits for the tag team titles. Gunter versus Chris Jericho. If Jericho loses, he must retire. I feel like it could be a quick match that's put in place. And I feel like that would be where Chris Jericho would win and would put an end to Gunter's retiring reign. But ultimately, Gunter would later on down the year retire Chris Jericho. The Women's World Tag Team Champions, if they was to bring out a new women's tag titles, you could have Judgment Day, Kabuki Warriors, Bayley and Lyra, and Fatal Influence. So that'd give a fatal 4-way there. And then finally, Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker.
Ooh,
Those
well,
would be the matches that I'd put in my two. Not necessarily have to be split like that, but
yeah.
those are the matches that I think would
Yeah.
make an epic like WrestleMania. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I quite like some of them matches. Some of them matches I hadn't even thought about. The one with Sol Ruka and Jordan Grace and Chelsea Green and Julia, I really like that.
Yeah,
Mm.
I sat there and was trying to think like what women have we got? Obviously, got the United States champ. So originally, I had Julia versus Kiana James.
Mm.
Kiana maybe turn on her because she did really well in the Rumble.
Yeah, she did. She did.
And I thought she did herself good. So I thought, oh, maybe we could have Kiana be like, you know what? Actually, I don't want to manage her. But I thought the chances of that happening.
I think Julia
Mm.
really needs a manager though, so it'd probably be better that Kiana stays with her.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I thought maybe they give Sol Ruka that little bit of a push and bring her up, and Jordan
Yeah.
Grace might get in, lose to Jay Cargill, maybe SmackDown or at Chamber or something, and then the path would be to there.
Yeah.
But
It'd be nice to see Jordan Grace with one of the mid card belts as well.
I think I'd have Sol Ruka with that, and that's how you put her onto the main brand.
Yeah.
Potentially.
And that would give her a massive push. But the other thoughts as well, obviously, listen that second night. What would your thoughts be on bringing a second set of women's tag team titles back and actually having the two sets?
I think they need to establish their tag team division properly before they do something like that. Because the whole reason they put them all together was because they were struggling with that division. So I would have no problem against it as long as they're correctly using their tag teams to the max value that they are, rather than the situation we had before where we had two sets of tag belts and the NXT belts, not enough tag teams, and we were seeing the same two tag teams face all the time.
Yes, that's where I looked at it and I counted earlier. There is 9 women's tag teams currently at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the storyline that maybe Rio and Io split up. Obviously, after the Rumble situation, the Kabuki Warriors may separate.
Yeah.
Charlotte and Alexa was deemed to separate at some point. Nia Jax and Legend could separate at some point. Nikki Bella and Brie Bella. Brie said on a podcast she'd love one more run in WWE, rivaling against Nikki Bella. So maybe that could be where that turns and we get that one more time. But Brie's the dominant one. There's a lot of places you can go for women, but there's still women on the roster. People like Michin, B-Fab, Candice LeRae, people in the logo, and all the NXT women that haven't been mentioned that could be brought up. And Kalani Jordan could go in a good tag team. You've obviously got Fatal Influence down at NXT that are doing good with the 3 of them. That could be pushed. So there's potential to have a second women's tag team title, but some of these tag teams that we've got need to be more built and stronger and on TV promoted.
I feel like the trade for those other 2 pairs of tag titles for the mid cards was better because we had an oversaturated singles women that weren't doing anything, and I'd much rather them keep it as the 2 mid cards and the 1 set of tag belts. I think that works so well, rather than throwing out another set of tag belts and having to force teams together. Not so much force teams together, but force teams together to fulfill that set of tag belts. I think it works just fine as it is right now.
I like the idea, though, of bringing back ladder matches onto WrestleMania. So when obviously Money in the Bank started in 2003, 2004, Edge won the first one, and they were hosted at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And for years going forward, I remember every year you'd get into WrestleMania season of that now, and you'd go 100% can guarantee that Matt Hardy and Finlay are in the ladder match for Money in the Bank. Mr. Kennedy was another one. MVP, Shelton Benjamin. You could almost pretty much write it, but it brought something to the PLE. Now we're on 2 nights. You could do a men's one and a women's one for a title in a ladder match. Plenty of wrestlers out there, 8-man matches, and then still have a Money in the Bank contract 2-3 months down the line that people are interested in. But there's plenty of options that we can go with. They just need someone in the creative that does the right thing.
Yep.
So, but let's get to know G a little bit better. So let all the fans out there that maybe haven't seen your content before or not sure who you are, let them know. Let's know what originally pulled you into WWE? When did you realise that you were more engrossed with it, that making content from it was what you wanted to be doing?
So obviously, as I've said to you guys before, when we were chatting before the podcast, I never started watching wrestling until like 2018. So I was really, really late to the game. I was like 20 something, 24, 25 at that point. I was quite late to the game finding wrestling. So it just so happened to be one of my ex-partner's friends came over to the house that we were living in at the time, and he was like, "Oh, the wrestling's on, do you mind if I pop it on the telly?" And I was like, "No, go ahead." We were playing games and stuff, card games. We're really into Pokemon and stuff like that, and that's what we were doing at that point. We were testing decks for a tournament, and he just put the wrestling on in the background, and I was finding myself looking at the TV loads while we were playing these card games, and I was like, I saw Becky Lynch and that was it, done. I was watching Becky Lynch, and every week I was like, "Is Becky on TV this week?" And he was like, "Yeah, she's on Raw this weekend. Is Becky on TV? Yeah, she's on this week." And that's how I kind of fell into wrestling. And then every week I was watching and watching and watching. And yeah, that's just, Becky was the one that pulled me into wrestling. And then in the terms of content creation wise, I think it was late 2018, TikTok very slowly started becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And I made an account and I was like, okay, I'm going to download it and we'll see what it is. I'm not really too fond of putting myself on the internet, but I'm going to see what it is. I started out making gaming content, things about Pokemon and Fortnite and games that I was playing. The idea was to build a Twitch channel behind gaming. And every now and again, I'd post a wrestling video, and those seem to be the videos that always did really well, and pulled in viewers. So I was like, that's it, we're going to start making more wrestling content, and that's what brought me to where I am today.
Oh, nice. And obviously, looking through your channels earlier, you say TikTok's where you started, and you've got an impressive 80,000 followers on in TikTok, and it's not an easy thing to keep going and to be consistent as much as you are. So, how hard are you finding it? Well, how hard did you find it at the beginning, and how hard do you find it now to keep being consistent as much as you are?
Honestly, consistency is your key to growing a following. You've got to be consistent. If you say you're going to do something, you've got to do it. If you can't do it, you've got to have a legitimate reason behind it, or people just stop coming back when you start saying, "I'm going to do this," but you don't do it. Like in the beginning, it was hard because you're posting these videos out and you're only getting a couple of hundred views, and you're like, what's the point in this? What am I doing this for? But if you kind of stick to it, eventually you will grow. And consistency really is the only key. Like, you look at your views and you're looking at 200 to 500 views, just keep going, because eventually they'll turn to 2,000-3,000 views. And like, I still struggle today, even with 80,000 followers. Like, I put a video up this morning, it only has 600 views. It literally, sometimes it takes a couple of days for the algorithm to pick it up and push it out. But a lot of I feel like my content pulls more around the PLEs when I'm making. So like, I have about 6 videos from the past week or two about Royal Rumble, and they're all up in the thousands, tens of thousands of views. But then I make a video on something else and it barely hits 1,000 sometimes. So even when
We
you have
found
the
that as well.
following, it
Yeah.
is really hard to get out to the people that you want it to get out to. And I don't think that's a problem with the person or the content. I think that's a problem with TikTok and the way it pushes things out.
Because we've been posting on YouTube. YouTube Shorts is what we've been getting really good views with. But TikTok's one of those where we put one video out and it'd get like 78 views. We put another one out and it got 17,000 views, and it was like,
exactly.
what's going on here?
Random.
But we're finding with YouTube Shorts, when we're posting more, that our views were like 300, 200, 300, 100. And then it was like, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,500, 2,500. And it's now pushing. So, it's one of those where you've got to be consistent.
Yeah, I feel like content within the wrestling community, consistency, honesty, and relevancy. If you're talking about something that's relevant, people want to talk about it.
Yeah, I sat on a gentleman's live last night. I'm hoping we'll be able to bring him on the podcast one day. His name's Jason. Literally come across him on TikTok randomly, started like commenting on his thing. I had a right chat with him, but he was like, all of his comments were like, "What time's Raw on?" And he's like, "This time, this time, this time." And he's like, "Going consistent. You've got to keep going and keep pushing." And he was like, "You've got to keep the conversation of allowing people to come in and have a chat."
Yeah.
He was like, when I joined the stream, he was on like 17 viewers. People started coming in and commenting, waiting for Raw to start, and you'd see like one or two people commenting. By the time that I come off to go and watch Raw at like 5-1, he had 80 odd some viewers, and everyone was commenting their points.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
thing with WWE fans, wrestling fans in general, want to give their opinion because it's one of those
Yeah.
things that you might absolutely love Becky Lynch. I can't stand the woman, and then
That's
this guy
fair.
over here is like, oh my god, she's the greatest thing since sliced bread. No one's better, and it's everyone has that different opinion of
Yeah.
people of how they're portrayed. So it's very interesting. It's definitely worth if you give people the chance to talk and give their opinions.
That's
People get
it.
mad for it.
People want to talk about their opinions. Like, even if somebody gives an opinion with something I don't agree with, I'll be like, but this is what I think, but your opinion's still relevant because that's your opinion. And like the whole thing with the whole viewership with lives as well, that's so odd because when I do my Raw and SmackDown watch alongs, I get like maybe 30 to 40, but when I do PLEs, I'm in the hundreds. Royal Rumble, I had 500 viewers on TikTok watching me through the whole pay-per-view. I have never had that amount of people watching me before. I don't even know where it came from.
I was live on Twitch with a group of us. We had our camera set up. We watched
Oh
it.
yeah.
And every now and then I was on yours, seeing how you were reacting to what was going on, and I was like, oh, because I was like, you're coming on today. I was like, I'm doing a bit of homework to see how you were like reacting and stuff. So I was like, oh look, I mean, a couple of the lads were sat watching you watch the Rumble rather than watching the Rumble. So it was interesting. You kept it engaging. So.
I feel like the other thing as well when you do these watch alongs is some people don't always have people to talk about and watch with, so they can find in somebody on the internet that will sit and talk with them. So a lot of I find quite a few people come on and they're like, are you going to be live tonight to watch this, because I want to watch it with someone, I haven't got anybody to watch it with. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there, just come and hang out. People just want someone to talk to about it, that's all it is.
Anything to say, David?
No.
David's very quiet,
I agree.
so we're slowly trying to get David out of his shell a little bit. So I've done podcasts in the past where I've done football podcasts and stuff like this, so I'm very comfortable talking on camera and stuff. David's still that little bit shy, so sometimes we'll have an hour-long podcast and it's just me talking, and I come off at the end and I'm like, bro, you didn't say anything. And he's like, I didn't know what to say.
Oh, bless.
So every now and then I go, David, anything to say? And then all of a sudden he goes, actually, yeah, I've got this to say. In yesterday's pod, I said, oh, what's your thoughts on that? And then he went on one, and I was like, okay, we're getting it out. So he's never done a podcast. It
becomes easier. The more you do it, it becomes easier.
Yeah.
But we've been having conversations because he was like, well, how do we work it with three people? Like, how do we go like this? So it's like, I was like, just make some notes on some things that you want to ask.
Yeah.
At any point, just pop up and ask a question. So I was like, there's nothing she's not going to want to answer because we want to talk wrestling altogether.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So, over to David if he's got a question to ask.
I have. So obviously you got into wrestling in the 2018. What was one storyline or one wrestler that made you look differently out of when you first started watching WWE?
What do you sort of mean?
Like what would be like your in the 2018, like a lot happened that year. So what would be your one storyline or one WWE that actually made you be invested?
Oh, okay.
What was
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So the first WrestleMania I remember watching was WrestleMania 35, which I think was 2019. And so the lead up to the triple threat match with Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, that I really enjoyed that. And then obviously Becky coming out as Becky Two Belts, with her being my favourite and the one that got me into wrestling. I really enjoyed that storyline and the end of that storyline, and then everything that went on with Becky after that with her double belts. That was what really invested me over that period of time.
WrestleMania 35, is that not the one that you went to, David?
No, the year before, 34.
Oh, you went to 34?
Yes, I went to 34.
I was like,
yes.
You smiled as she said WrestleMania 35, and I was like, you smiling?
No, I knew it was going to be the Becky Lynch one because I was a massive fan of Becky.
obviously, you've had nearly 8 years in the wrestling
Yeah.
industry of watching it and stuff. Becky was your first person that got you, say, hooked on wrestling. We'll put it that
Hmm.
way. Sorry, the pun. If the people want to sue me, then sue me. But that got you hooked on wrestling. Um, what other superstars after Becky were there any others like coming out that WrestleMania storyline of Becky two belts? Anyone else that caught your attention that made you maybe like, oh, if Becky's not on, I want to watch this person? And
Yeah. So I'm a really, really, really big Bray Wyatt fan.
okay,
Bray Wyatt, The Fiend. I absolutely love the 5-5 Funhouse. I love The Fiend. I love anything Bray Wyatt's done in the past, God knows how many years until obviously the unfortunate accident. But yeah, I'm a really big Bray Wyatt fan. Who else? I'm trying to think back because a bunch of people that were 2018, 2019, 2020, a bunch of them have gone, like Sasha Banks has gone. I really enjoyed Sasha Banks. She was pretty good. I'm not so much enjoying her now in like what she's doing over there, but that's a
Mercedes
whole other
money.
story for another day.
Bring you on the AEW podcast and we'll talk about her or the 12 other bouts that she's had or whatever
Yeah.
stupid amount it is. We seen her live. We went to AEW in Manchester in
Oh yeah.
December. We were very fortunate that the show we went to was MJF's big return,
Oh
where
yeah.
he famously called Swerve Strickland P Diddy. We were crying in the crowd because I've got that whole clip on video, and it's the greatest moment ever.
Oh,
But
amazing.
she didn't. Well, I've seen obviously Raw and SmackDown in the past, and David's been to a few live shows and televised shows over here. And Mercedes Money slash Break, whatever you want to call it, she didn't look the same as what she did. She didn't look as comfortable as when she was in
No,
WWE.
no.
It's a shame, but I have heard rumours. Apparently, her contract with AEW is up and they're not renewing, and there
Oh,
are talks ongoing that she might be coming back to WWE.
oh, okay.
Um, or Pamela,
That's
as
interesting.
she looked, her best friend Pamela Bailey
Pamela.
go into AEW was another rumor that I heard. But
That's
well,
interesting.
that is one question though. Was you shocked not to see Paige at the Rumble? Because that was a massive rumor that she put the teaser out the day before, getting back to my old self, that
She
everyone
does it
thought was
every
her.
year. She does it every year. Every year she posts right by the Rumble some wrestling stuff. And I find a bunch of other wrestlers do that as well, just to spark the rumours. But I feel like she does want to go back to WWE and she does want to be in WWE again, but I feel like that's on WWE, not her.
Yeah,
So I
Raw
would
after
be
Mania, Paige's night again.
yeah. I'm kind of, I really did want her to come, but I'm kind of glad she didn't because the Saudi crowd was that awful that I
We
feel
said
like
this.
her pop would have been absolute nothing that she deserved. Nothing that she
We
deserved.
said this about any return. I said I'm gutted there wasn't many returns, and
Yeah.
I grew up in a time where the first Rumble I think I ever watched live as a pay per view, we had Big Daddy called Diesel come back,
Mm.
and I was like, oh my god! And I've seen videos growing up, like Hacksaw Jim Duggan coming out to the Rumble, and Mick Foley used to come out to him, and Gregory Helms as Hurricane Helms, and all these kind of people. So I'm seeing like, oh, I want X people to come back and make it fun. Maybe seeing a Shawn Michaels return, but then I'm sort of like,
Mm.
it's
Mhm.
Saudi. I'm so glad we didn't get any returns because
Yeah. Yeah.
they would have
Yeah.
come back and gone, this is what WWE is. Oh, okay, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
And that's what I worry with Powerhouse Hub. That's why I think maybe NXT just to get used to the crowd a bit and build them up. But yeah, Paige is, I think, Raw after Mania will
I
be
do.
Paige.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I have a feeling what would be the perfect storyline? AJ defeats Becky Lynch for
Yes.
the IC
Yes.
title, and then Paige returns during
Yeah.
AJ Lee's title celebration.
Oh yes. That is exactly what I want.
This goes 24 hours after me complaining that WWE just copy ideas from 10 years ago and repeat them. But that's a storyline I could get behind.
That's what we're
Um,
happy with.
that
Yeah.
one I could get behind because that would be an epic moment.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, but going back obviously to your content creating, how do you decide what topics are worth covering. Like when you're sitting there going, I need to make video and get my content out today. So I don't know if you sit there, we sit there and go, well, we need like 2 or 3 videos or something for the week.
Yeah.
How do you sit there after watching Raw last night, a 3-hour show? How do you decide which moments you're going to post about?
So I tend to go for so say for instance, obviously I didn't do a watch along for this week's Raw, but had I have done a watch along for this week's Raw and I had clips to post, I probably would have posted the Braun reaction to Braun at the beginning. I probably would have posted the reaction to Stephanie McCall winning and Liv then attacking her, and I probably would have posted some of the Roman Reigns versus CM Punk clips. So I tend to post the storylines that I'm invested in, or the bigger moments that I know people are going to be invested in.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how I go about it. So I'll tend to sit and I'll write like on a Sunday, I tend to sit and write the days of the week, an idea for every day that isn't a clip, and then an idea for every day that will come from like the clips. So I'll be like, I need 3 clips from Raw. This is what's set to go down on Raw. Maybe this bit and this bit will be good. So this, but if they're not, then once I've done the reaction video, I know which bits I've reacted to really well. So I'll tend to pull them ones out, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally understand. Like we sat and had a conversation. I think we do it most Sundays. We record our podcast for Mondays. So this one obviously will go out tomorrow. We have our main podcast we record every Sunday, goes out every Monday. And we were trying to be like, right, how can we be consistent and stuff like that? But we sat down on a Sunday and we'll go, right, we'll do our podcast at 9:30, 10 o'clock. So 9 times out of 10, we're doing our podcast and we're both yawning our head off because it's 10:30, 11 on a Sunday. But we're like, we'll get it out later tonight. I can edit it then Monday. The kids go to school or to nursery and I'm home alone. So I'm like, right, I've got my time to edit it and stuff. But we sat there the other week and I said, right, every Sunday now, we'll join an hour before we go do our podcast. We'll run through the next week's worth of stuff. So we obviously last week we were like, Monday Night Raw, we'll do some footage on that. We'll talk about that. We've got Friday Night SmackDown. Well, Friday David come down to me because he come down to watch the Rumble. So it was like, right, Friday we don't need any footage. Saturday we don't need footage because we're live for both those days.
Yeah.
And we've noticed since we've started planning that couple of days in advance is massive just to make it easy for yourself. Yeah. And I'm trying to help my partner build her business up at the moment. So David's hoodie that he's wearing it's what my partner does for a living. So she makes clothing.
Nice.
And she was like, oh, I'm struggling to get the business out. And I was like, schedule your posts. Even if you post this hoodie this week and then you post it again in 3 weeks' time, schedule your posts because it saves you the hassle of having to do it. And she's come to me today. She said, I've had 14 orders today. I was like,
wow, that's insane.
Like, just doing that little bit of getting on top of it and being consistent with people, you get seen more. And we've definitely noticed it in our views side.
And definitely like scheduling ahead of yourself, you've always know that you've got a few extra days ahead of yourself. So if you've got a content idea for like say 5 days, Monday to Friday, you've then got 5 days to think of 5 ideas for the next week. So you are ahead of yourself. And the thing is, I find like I do a lot of music ranking videos as well and unboxing because I'm always buying wrestling figures and things like that. So if I've recorded a unboxing but some major news comes out, I'll post that major news and keep that unboxing for a few days later because it's not quite relevant, whereas that news is relevant. So I'll just push back the unboxing a few days because the news is more important. So you've always
very
got
engrossed.
A build up of stuff.
I am very engrossed. I have been watching your unboxing videos. Have you got the Undertaker belt yet?
No, I have not.
Have you got any to open? Especially get one on the pod.
I haven't. No. Everything I've got is open and recorded at the minute.
Ah, good. See, I don't know where you get them from because I said to the missus, I want to get some and start doing them kind of videos.
The slap bands.
Yeah.
I got one here. He's Mr. Intercontinental. Mr. Intercontinental. Smith's Toy Stores. That's where I get these from.
Oh, okay.
Everything I buy wrestling wise, everything I buy like to unbox for wrestling is always from Smith's and Vinted. They're the only 2 places I buy from.
I've got the blue Universal Championship belt. But I had the red one before. was trying to see if my blue one was near me, but it's not. I had the red one before, and I brought that off Vinted, and I thought, oh,
Yeah.
here we go, I'm going to get scammed. And it turned up at my house. I paid £102 for it, and
Wow.
it was literally in the wrapper still. And I was like, oh my God. And then it went
That's
until I
insane.
unboxed it. I realised it was the commemorative version, and I was like, I don't care.
You've
On
got
camera,
it?
you can't tell.
Yeah.
My
No.
blue one that I've got now is a commemorative version. It's got the official tags. They're expensive belts.
Mhm.
And then there's David that I met. Me and David met like, oh, got to be like June,
Yeah.
July last year, just after Mania. No, just before Mania last year, we started talking.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
we probably met October, November time, properly got talking. The first
Yeah.
thing he says, he goes, oh, that belt's really cool. And back, I was like, oh, nice. He's like, oh, I've got this one. It just holds up the black WWE black with John Cena side plates. And I was like,
Wow.
thanks.
Fun.
He's like, yeah, it's signed by The Miz and Lana
That's
and Rusev.
insane.
And I was like,
Oh,
That's insane.
I am gonna go down with the
Oh, it's beautiful.
DSL. I need the new ones because I really
It's
want the
beautiful.
never seen
when
17.
I say this guy is the biggest John Cena fan in the UK, I mean it.
Yeah.
Oh.
He
I
went
found
to
him.
Comic-Con just to get a photo with John Cena.
Yeah, I've met him twice now.
That's
I
insane. I love
I
that.
did
That's so
when
cool.
I think it was 2022. I went to Cardiff.
Mhm.
Traveled down to Cardiff. Hell of a journey because all the trains were delayed. But me and my nephew got there, met him then.
2022
And
was that Clash at the Castle?
No, we
Right.
just did Wales Comic Con.
Oh,
But it was
okay.
around that time, so I think
It was around that time, yeah.
the purpose was to basically get him into Wales to basically.
Because he,
He was
yeah,
promoting it as
because
well.
he come, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the year my son was born, and then it was just I think it was November this year. I met him and I took my son
Yes.
along with me. He's
Yeah,
3 years
he was
old.
there last year. Yeah,
And
last year, November last year.
my son's starting to get into wrestling, and he's just like the you can't see me, and he does the yeet. And if I
Nice.
said he was dead shy around Cena. Obviously, I was, as my partner describes, I was proper like a fangirl, proper static around them. And I said to my son, "Oh, is there anything you want to say to John Cena?" And he went, "You can't see me." To Cena,
Oh,
and Cena did it back, but it was like literally was stood next to me as he did it, and I nearly died as a fan.
that's so
I
sweet.
yeah, it was a great
I'll
moment.
have to get the audio and put it up on TikTok over next to this clip of his missus telling me exactly how he reacted, because she
Oh.
told me and I was crying of laughter.
Yeah,
because she was like, he fangirled, but you know when you get them fangirls that are like really annoying and like horrible. He was one of those, and I was like, he was so excited.
1,000%. It was like I was getting there. I'd come and I was absolutely fine, loving the day, spending the day with my son and partner, and he's into all like the Marvel superheroes. So it
Yeah.
was great to walk around to see all them. And then
Yeah.
it was time to like go up the escalator because John Cena was in like a private room at the top.
Yeah.
And we got out there and just pure anxiety, feeling over
Oh.
myself, dead anxious. But then after I met him, and it was just the way he is as a person, what you see him on telly, into how he is meeting fans and how he interacts. It's amazing, and how he treated my son as well.
Yeah.
He was like got down on one knee to greet him and stuff. And it
Oh,
was
that's
great.
so lovely. Some of
It was
them are
great.
really. I've heard some really bad horror stories from some wrestlers that I've met that are really horrible. But most of them, every wrestler I've met has been absolutely lovely. I can't say I've ever had a bad experience.
Yeah.
Have you met anyone? Who have you met?
So I have met. Let me try and think off the top of my head. So I've met Bailey last year. She was a sweetheart. I've met Matt Riddle. I've met Chad Gable and Otis. I've met
I'd love to meet Otis.
Cody Rhodes. I've met twice. Who else? I've like half met Becky Lynch. So we were at a house show and I was on the ramp and I took my book with me and she signed my book. So I'm going to count that as a win.
Yeah, got me done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
I think that's it. I don't think there's anybody else.
I did Mania 39 in LA. The year that Cody lost to Roman. What an atmosphere that was, by the way. He killed that place. As soon as Roman wins, that place just went silent.
Really?
But I met Bobby Lashley, Charles Robinson, Valhalla come out. Oh, Sarah Logan, what you want to call it? She come out in full makeup to go to the bank.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Walked out to the bank dressed as Valhalla, and we were like, "No way did she come back with money?" She was like, "I got served." We met Kevin Owens and Sami
So
Zayn.
jealous.
Kevin Owens was one of those. I'm going to say I met him. His car pulled up in front and he had to open the window to verify his ID. And I was like, "Yes, Kevin." And he was like, "Hello, mate." And carried on driving. I
It's
was
a
like,
win.
win for me." My brother's got a photo of Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley's like posing and smiling in the background for the photo.
I love that.
And I was in the superstore. I met Los Garza Phantasma, whatever they're called.
Yeah, Los Guys.
Didn't have a clue it was them. I walked into Santos Escobar that I now know is Santos Escobar. I walked into, oh, sorry, buddy, and just carried on walking, and he just looked at me really weirdly. And then it wasn't until some bloke went to me, he's like, "You know that guy you just walked into was like Santos Escobar?" And I was like, "Who?" Like, not a clue.
Yeah.
And the three of them were stood there, and I just walked through the middle of them, looking at the Funko Pops behind him.
Nice.
And then I had Booker T walk into me.
Nice.
Looked at me up and down, shook my hand and smiled and just walked off. I got the whole thing on video of him walking into me, talking about Eddie Guerrero and
amazing.
So it was really cool.
I forgot one. I've also met Naomi, but when she was Trinity in TNA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And now she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Very different storyline, but no, some of them are really nice, and some of them sit there and they've got like Charles Robinson. We had like a 20-minute conversation with him.
He's so nice. People literally stop him in the street at wrestling shows, and he literally takes pictures with you. Every person has ever met him has always said it's been a lovely experience.
I got to meet. Normally the meet and greets at superstores are very expensive. We got to meet Omos. I'm 6'6", so I'm a tall person myself, and I'm like this, talking to him. But he was in like the VIP bit behind, and he'd come over. So that was the year they debuted the Firefly Funhouse being at the Mania Superstore. So then you couldn't go to it as like a normal person. You couldn't buy tickets. It was only the VIP experiences. So he was looking around it and was getting like emotional from it. And he came over and said hello to us. And then he turned around to us and he was like, "Go and speak to that bloke over there." He was like, "Tell him that I've sent you, but Scarlett and Karrion Kross are in there taking photos."
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "You don't need to pay. Tell him I've sent you." So I walked over to this bloke and he's like, "Got your ticket?" I went, "Omos has sent us." And Omos is like, "Yeah, mate, let him in." And he was like, "So me and my brother went in and we got photos of Scarlett and Karrion Kross for free."
That's insane.
Just from talking to Omos. So it was absolutely great. And it was an absolute privilege to meet and speak them all. Yeah. Karrion Kross has got a photo of my brother and he's got him in his chokehold. Absolutely
love that.
But yeah, it was. Some of them are really nice when you meet them, but you hear some stories about them where they're a nightmare. I heard Mercedes Money's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Once, so you got to catch them on the right time, haven't you? But there are some people I can understand, like when you see like Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy walk through an airport, and you got someone running up to him, "Can you sign this one?" They're like, "Yeah, sure." And then he pulls out like 3,000 items. It's like Kevin Owens tells him tough to cough, don't he?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'll come to you, David. You can ask the last question, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yes.
Pick your last one.
Yes, we'll pick my last one. So, if you could sit down with any wrestler, past or present, just to interview them, who would it be and why?
Oh, there's so many good ones, though. There's so many good ones and so many people that I'd want to know about their story. I feel like a lot of people have the chance to do things like that now anyway. So I'm going to go for Bray Wyatt because I don't feel like I know enough about him because obviously we don't have that chance to have that opportunity now. I feel like it'd have to be Bray Wyatt. I want to know the creativity behind his mind. I want to know how he comes up with things like the Firefly Funhouse and stuff like that. But yeah, I think knowing the creativity behind Bray Wyatt's mind is something that I would be very invested in.
I'd have picked Husky Harris.
Straight
over her head. Husky Harris was what Bray was before.
NXT.
When he was in the Nexus, it was the Nexus.
Oh,
when
Nexus,
Wade Barrett run the Nexus, Husky Harris in that is Bray Wyatt, and Skip Sheffield become Ryback.
Okay. So, I don't think I've gone that far back.
that was good. Them years were good when the Nexus. If you're gonna go back to Nexus's debut. Yeah. Because they literally came in and they tore the place apart. Like, there's a video of Daniel Bryan with Michael Cole, and he's got a wire around his throat, and he's
Oh my
choking him
god.
literally ringside. But they've pulled all the mats up, and they're choking him on the concrete. They come in and they took over.
Wow.
But you like CM Punk as well.
Yeah.
Eventually, he takes over the Nexus, so that whole storyline is like 3-4 years long, but it's a really good storyline to get into.
Wow.
If you want to go
Mhm.
back to wrestling,
Mm.
but I'm going to bring in a tradition that we're going to start with you, and we'll
Okay.
go every guest that comes on. If you were to walk out on Monday Night Raw tomorrow, what would your wrestling name be?
Oh, I don't know.
David thinking.
I know, I'm trying to think why.
I'm not creative like that with those sort of things. Maybe I
Either
could
what would
be
your name
Just
be, or what would your finisher be? David would come out as John Cena, and his finisher would be the Attitude Adjustment.
Yeah.
I'd have to steal Pete Dunne's finisher. I love to go
I
around.
think one of my favourite finishers is Roxanne's Pop Rocks, so I'd probably steal that from her. I really like that. Or the Soul Snatcher. Soul Snatcher is amazing.
Soul Snatcher is the best finisher in WWE.
So good.
Mine would be the Batista Bomb,
Mm.
because it's such a good move, and the fact that he used to go down with people and brute force. So, but no, we, like I said at the beginning, we do very much appreciate you joining us
Yes, thank
tonight.
And
It's
thanks
been
for
great.
having me. I've really enjoyed it.
It's our honour. It's been great to have you on, get to know you a little bit better. Hopefully, there'll be more interactions and collaborations with us coming forward. There's a few events that David might be banned from doing, so if you want to jump on one of our watch alongs, you're more than welcome to come and join us.
Of course.
And any other podcasts, if you want to do any of us as well, let us know. Same to anyone out there that watches this. If you do want to come on the podcast, if you are a content creator, a wrestler, up and coming wrestler, or you've been in the industry, or anything like that, if you want to come on and have a say about your path into WWE or wrestling or the indie scenes, whatever it is, let us know. Send us an email with the link in the description, and we'll be happy. Make sure to check out all of our social medias. G, do you want to just let everyone know where they can find your socials?
Yeah, so I am JustGee92 on YouTube, Twitter, X, Facebook. Instagram is JustG_92 because somebody had already took JustG92 for some reason. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Perfect. We'll make sure you go over and drop G a follow. Ours was really annoying because Twitter was the only thing that Turnbuckle Chat won, because it was the only one that someone can guess, but we got the one. So, but no, appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Always.
And until next time, we will see you later.